The county shelter smelled like bleach and wet fur, concrete floors, a fluorescent tube flickering over intake. I'd been awake for most of 72 hours, and I stood at the counter while a woman named Denise went to the back. Then I heard the nails on the concrete. Duke came around the corner pulling against the shelter lead, 8 years old, gray around the muzzle, thinner than he'd been on Friday. He saw me and made a sound I'd never heard him make. I got down on the floor of that lobby in front of everyone and let him push his head into my chest. Denise handed me the leash. Then she pulled up the intake report. "He came in from the Texaco on Route 9, she said, 15 miles out. A trucker called it in." She paused, and I watched her decide to tell me the rest. The driver saw a young woman in a white sedan open her car door at the pumps, push the dog out, and drive off. Dog chased the car to the edge of the lot. He gave us a description. She read the description. I stood there holding the leash and understood that the woman I was going to marry in September had driven my dog to a highway gas station and thrown him away. I got Duke 5 years before I met Chloe. Rescue pull, 3 years old, found tied to a fence. He came home with me the same afternoon. You should know what kind of dog he is because it matters. Quiet, never chewed a thing. Sleeps by the door until I'm home, then sleeps by my feet. When I had pneumonia 2 winters back, he didn't leave the bedroom for 4 days. That's the whole resume. Loyalty, silently performed for 8 years. Chloe never liked him. She was decent at hiding it early on. Later, she stopped trying. The hair on her black jeans, the smell of the couch, the walks that ate the whole morning. She'd say things like, "When we have our real house." A house that, in her sentences, never contained a dog. But when my conference came up, 3 days in Denver, she smiled and squeezed my arm. "Go, we'll be fine. Girl time with Duke." I filled his food container. I left the vet's number on the fridge. I kissed her goodbye. I gave the leash to the person he trusted because I trusted her. I landed Sunday at 4 p.m. The house was quiet in the wrong way. No nails on the hardwood. No head at the window. Chloe met me in the kitchen already crying. She's in marketing. She presents for a living. "He bolted," she said. "I opened the front door for a package and he just ran. I looked everywhere. I'm so sorry." Duke has never bolted through a door in his life. He waits. It's the thing everyone notices about him. I filed that fact away and started searching, because the search mattered more than the math. 3 days. I want to compress them for you, but they don't compress. I walked the neighborhood until 2 a.m. with a flashlight. I stapled flyers to poles in the rain. I called every shelter. Chloe stayed home. "Someone should be here in case he comes back," she said, and did her nails. Then the shelter called. Then Denise. Then the trucker's description. The white sedan, the woman, the push. I didn't bring Duke home. I drove him straight to my buddy Mark's place, and Mark took the leash and asked 0 questions. Then I went home to give Chloe one chance to tell me the truth. I sat across from her and said the shelter had some information, and I wanted to hear her version again. She sighed. Actually sighed. Set down the nail file. "Okay, honestly, you're too obsessed with that mutt anyway. He's old. The house is cleaner. It's for the best. We can get a cleaner breed later. Something hypoallergenic." She went back to her nails. That was her confession. Boredom. Here's what happened inside me, described accurately. Nothing loud. People expect rage. Rage is heat, and heat means something still burning. What I felt was the opposite. Every feeling I had for her cooled and set all at once, like concrete. You can't argue with concrete. You can only build on it. So I said, "You're right." She smiled. She thought she'd won. Monday morning, she kissed me on the cheek, took her coffee, and drove to work. I watched her white sedan clear the corner. Then I drove to the hardware store and bought a box of 20 contractor bags, 3 mil, heavy duty. I worked room by room. Her closet first, bagged. Her bathroom counter, bagged. Her desk, her framed prints. I wasn't rough with anything. I want that on the record. I folded. This wasn't vandalism. It was moving day. She just hadn't been told yet. 20 bags, tied, staged by the garage door by 1 p.m. Her entire footprint in my house, condensed and portable. Duke's bed stayed exactly where it was. The Texaco on Route 9 is a 15-mile drive. I made it with the truck bed full and the radio off. I backed up to the dumpster on the side lot, the one by the air pump, where a trucker once watched an 8-year-old dog chase a white sedan to the edge of the asphalt and then stand there in the cold, waiting, because waiting is what he knows how to do. Then I unloaded all 20 bags and stacked them neatly against the dumpster. I stood where Duke would have stood. I looked at the road the way he would have looked at it. Then I got back in the truck and made 2 calls. The first was to the caterer. The wedding was 10 weeks out, and I ate the deposit without flinching. The second was to a locksmith. Then I took 1 photo of the bags and texted it to Chloe with the address, the GPS coordinates, and 1 line. Everything you own is at the Texaco on Route 9. Duke found his way back from here. Let's see if your stuff can. She called at 5:13 p.m. I was sitting in my driveway. I answered on speaker and set the phone on the dash. Screaming, the full register. Where is my stuff? Are you insane? My clothes are at a gas station. I confirmed the address, calmly, twice. I told her the locks were changed. And then she said it, the sentence she'd been building toward for 4 years. Are you insane? Is a stupid dog really more important than me? I looked at the phone for a second. Then I gave her the only honest vow I had left. He waited for me at that gas station. You wouldn't have. Yes. I hung up and blocked the number. I picked Duke up from Mark's that evening. He walked through the front door, checked every room once, and settled onto his bed by the couch with a long exhale. The house was quiet. Her side of the closet was empty. There was dog hair on the cushions. Cleanest it's ever been.